So I'm doing a rehearsal of 6, 7, 8, 9, 7, starting from credentials. Their full name, Radlinina, military service, commando of soldiers, class riflery 02, I was 05. Basic training, military police in a battlefield zone. Later on, I was a sports guide when we evacuated the area. In 2023, I was recruited again to the officers' police station to instruct sports and to be a lifeguard, pool lifeguard, education. 2021, did retirement planning studies at the Orange Paltans Academy. Mostly it focused on the taxes. 2018, 2020, accounting studies at the University of Bar-Ilan, CPA, Certified Public Accountant, Bar-Ilan University, average very high, 82. The council exam grade was 77 by the Council of Department of Justice. I did 1 year internship. I'm a beaten woman, my elder brother mostly harmed my continuation of the internship. 2007, I got a scholarship for a .NET computing and programming scholarship. 2004, 2006, I did the complete bookkeeping, tax advising in Mishlav Academy, and I was certified by the Ministry of Justice. My license is 47730. From 1999 till 2003, I did a BA in psychology in the Open University, graduated in honors, and was actually accepted to neurology or brain science studies for an MA. I have about 15 years of work and studies in accounting, bookkeeping, acquiring and tax advising, acquiring qualification and experience in Israeli, European and American accounting, tax, financial management of complex bookkeeping and IT systems, software solutions for accounting and taxation, work professional experience. In 2022, I was accepted in a very high salary at Ernst & Young. It's the first, well, it's the leading accounting firm in the world. The department, I was accepted to the American department, the International American department that gives a localized accounting and tax solution for international companies. 2017 to 2021, this is actually a subsidiary of the electricity company. It was like a seed, a high-tech company that gives solutions for to find the problems in the wiring and the electricity very fast. I was a financial manager. It's now called Megagrid Analytics. In past, it was called Metricom. It was acquired in my time by an international, that was during the COVID-19, international company called Mega. It's a very long-standing British company. The company was a high-tech company at Herzliya Pituach. Everyone was out of the Technion. Special qualification experience of being part of an M&A and due diligence process where we, all the salaries and everything was checked, and it was a very challenging financial issues like tackled, solved in self-sufficient way. Like IES, which is special certificates to the British tax authorities, VAT, taxation, import, export, all to do with that. 2009 until 2016, this was actually an office of my father. I was a tax advisor there, bookkeeper, and so on and so forth. Mostly it was international taxation. 2008, 2009, I was assistant controller at Unisport, a boutique firm. Precore, sister company Peloton, specialized in selling sports machinery for gyms around the world, and was acquired by the USA company, which is a very big company, Precore. I was in charge there, mostly debiting and collection for my Europe clients. A statement of claim, the legal summary against the brothers only. To the Honorable Court, the parties, Nina after the plaintiff, the defendants, Dan and Oded, introduction and summary. The factual background only against the brothers. The mother deceased was a helpless, paralyzed and mute elderly woman. She had ALS in very advanced stages, incapable of expressing her will or managing her affairs. The defendants took advantage of her situation, acted behind her back, and carried out withdrawals from her bank accounts without my knowledge, without my mum's knowledge. From 2021, both of us were detached from the bank. We couldn't see. I was her tax advisor and still are. For many years, couldn't see what was going on in the bank. The audit was a banker, and the elder is a chronic gambler in the stock market. Transactions without lawful authorization. There wasn't a partner in that bank account. The defendant withheld information from the plaintiff, concealed documents, created false representations of a trust regarding me, and legal authorization. You can see that they stole. You can see there's a felony according to Chapter 11 of the penal law of stealing from her bank account. They also signed her where she was mute, paralyzed with very bad Hebrew on an ongoing power of attorney to sell her house. The claim is that the attorney started selling her house. She actually moved to the elderly home it was promised to her that she would move for temporary situation. If she doesn't like it, she come back home. But once she was in, they started selling the house. Every 2 days, they were withdrawing big amounts of money. They didn't want to give her any sufficient medical care. She had a hip replacement, didn't want to have her caregiver, which, I fought to provide her from the national insurance. Defendants allowed carry unusual gambling and financial activity in the expense of the deceased while ignoring her medical conditions and her legal prohibitions. The defendant acted to exclude the plaintiffs, denied her access to information, did not cooperate with legal requirements, and violated rights as an heir. So it starts from a case of inheritance 25135 from June 2024. They haven't shown the court then. They claimed in court that the mother made upon herself, initiated an ongoing power of attorney. First of all, they didn't show that document to the court. The mom was completely paralyzed. During that time, they sabotaged the house. They came, attacked me. All, and it was wartime. They were defying the home front guidance regarding that. They stole the medical file, which luckily I scanned before. Gross negligence and helpless exploitation according to the Totstone Ordinance, new version, breach of confidence. Moreover, as heirs and relatives. So moreover, in that, they showed a will which I didn't know about, which they will run a trust on me, a will that I didn't know about. They held it for 7 years, concealed it from me. Once my mom was dead, they beat me up, promised to break my house. But I attended and I tried twice to make a negotiation. I agreed to evict the house, show me the assets, show me the assets and any documents. I took 2 lawyers. It cost me a lot of money. Their lawyer stated in the court that I dragged it out. He didn't state that I did negotiations in front of him. He also stated that I have a secret ambition or a secret plan on the house, which I didn't. I agreed to leave the house. It also, this agreement says, stop hitting me. Some restriction order, stop hitting me, stop, attacking the house or attacking me. without informing before. It was all set, and they broke it twice. They didn't say it to court. That's known as a false affidavit. They also said in the beginning that I'm wasteful. That's why the will was initiated. Then now they say that I'm prudent. Okay. Also, they kept this will for 7 years. They insisted of putting in. It wasn't set into when my father died. They didn't show it to the registry of inheritance. Both of my parents had very, very bad Hebrew, very, very bad Hebrew, Olim Chadashim, and so on. 7 years they kept that will. And once I couldn't appeal. First of all, the decision was made without me in the courtroom. My lawyer was taken out against the regulations of the civil regulations of the war. He was taken out of Mrafa. He didn't eat. You could see that he was 15 less kilograms. He wasn't talking correct. You couldn't, connect to him. And the decision was made without my knowledge. Then later on, they started sending me forms that I should, sign a form that they have a bank account, which they have a right to withdraw for my money. And, this is not a trust. This doesn't obey no connection to trust. They didn't do a registration only when I submitted a defense statement, and they only then around June or May they made the registration in the authorities. Deception, misreception, similar material information, obstruction of justice, and concealment of evidence. They took the medical file. The elder brother, tried to kill the mother. After a hip replacement, he tried to overdose on the opiates. I also got threats on my life. They're holding narcotics or stuff like that. They say I'm retarded, I'm having hallucinations. But you could see the bank account that every 2 days they withdrew money. Their lawyer, which I'm suing in Tel Aviv, made some kind of medical guardianship on me by them. So they can say I'm retarded and I have to move to a special retarded place to get very harsh narcotics that in 10 years I will die, because they have some kind of a faulty diagnosis, which actually needs a brain scan, which I did, and I don't have it. It's a lateral shrinkage of the lateral dormitory in the cortex. I don't have it, and I don't need those very, killing drugs that they're holding, and they try to poison my mom as well. This is against the confidentiality of a doctor and a patient. Once you have thieves and beaten people who trying to take some medical guardianship on you, just finding a way to kill you. Obstruction of justice, violation of constitutional rights, normative framework. So we have the penalty law, theft, fraudulent receipt, obstruction of justice, murder, aggravated murder, the unjust enrichment law from 1969, the tort ordinance, basic law, human dignity and liability, the legal capacity and guardianship law, and also the trust law. Relatives ruling principles, laws regarding the exploitation of elderly and helpless, increased responsibility of family members who hold power and influence. They isolated the mom from her friends, from me, and put her in a horrible state. A ruling on the subject of restitution of funds between heirs and their production of weakened evidence, neurological report, confirmation note, and paralysis, ALS. Financial documents, which I got from the judge, a court order, which they also said to the bank, don't give her. I have recordings of the people there saying that I'm retarded and I'm not I shouldn't get the bank data. I'm 20 years, I'm with their tax advisor, the elder one. I just don't understand, the elder one, the father, my mother, most of the house, they don't have bagrut. They have criminal files from their childhood. The elder one sat in Kele Shesh, and I think he also sat in Kele Telmond after trying to drug an overdose on his wife, which now is a wife. The younger one is a banker, and I mean, I did his a seminar work. He hardly had any bagut for, it took me 4 hours. He got 100. It just doesn't make any sense. And for 20 years I was taking care of my parents, which were terminally ill. My father had problems, leukemia, heart problems, cancer, very harsh. My mom was in awful pain from arthritis and so on. And for 20 years, I was mostly doing voluntary work. I was working for my father for less than minimum wage and trying to, get the other money. And wasn't my initiative to live at the house. My elder brother just broke an entrance to my flat in Tel Aviv. Correspondence recording and everything with all information from the plaintiff, evidence of gambling activity, personal use of the restaurant. They also say that they are needy families. They just got something like 3.5 million. And, there's plenty of property. Suddenly you say that the flat in Eilat is worth a million, almost a million and a half. Sell the flat in Eilat. Start from that and retrieve all the other money that you took, inheritance document and inheritance probes orders. My Brazilian, they both say adopted. We have this elder is a Muslim, adopted Muslim. The Rabbanut didn't want to marry him. They have access to the file. Had a criminal file. They didn't want to let him get married in Israel. He also participated with Bais, very criminal families when he was young. And the elder Aviva, which wasn't in touch with the family, she's Brazilian, but we don't have an adoption file. Requested remedies, full refund of stolen amounts, financial compensation for doing and non-securities, full billings, compensations, and also a restriction order. Unjust enrichment, the unjust enrichment law, the legal framework, the unjust enrichment law, section 1 of the law states a person who has not received a national service or other benefit that came to him from another person must return that money. Enrichment of the expense of others, lack of legal right. Enrichment, civil and actual benefit at the expense of others, a lack of the rights of law, the heart of the Torah, increased obligation on institution in family and helpless relationship, taking advantage of the dependency. They know that I'm a beaten woman, but they take advantage of that. The helpless. Also, my mom was very sick and very, denial of possible defenses. The defendants cannot be well from the consent claim. She couldn't speak. The claim of a gift without discussion. He also took a hold of a flat in Eilat in 2021. They said they're going to renovate it to find new lodgers. The elder one was real estate, and then they didn't give the mother a key, they didn't give me a key, but they just took over that flat in Eilat, and for 20 years there was rent. Suddenly there's no rent. This is under strict liability. It's also in the penalty law and also in the trust law. The innocence of the heart, and bookkeeping. They are not running bookkeeping. 7 years you were holding this document and not running any bookkeeping. I'm asking for stuff, you just threaten with all kinds of drugs all the time, narcotics. I'm asking for bookkeeping. I'm asking for bank records. And I'm all the time getting threats on my life with all kinds of very, very harsh narcotics, which is, I couldn't appeal because they came and broke my ribs. This is a attempted murder. They have 3 criminal cases in the police. The numbers are 499-808 from 2024, 314-612, theft, robbery, murder, attempted murder, and now a new one after breaking an entrance in November, 13th of November, case 544947. Exploitation of defendant trust relation, increasing burden of wealth. We have Eliyahu against Kramer, and lack of in the mother-son relationship. When the mother is paralyzed and mute, there is a clear relationship of dependence. Any enrichment of the sons requires proof of kashrut, free will, and so on. Family relations do not block the making of wealth; they make it worse. Family. This is Cohen versus Shemesh. From 87. Family kinship does not establish a persecution mutual gift to the family member. Okay, helpless duty, application, lack of free consent, making a fortune, family rulings, a short legal summary. The case law consistently states that when enrichment is done through family relations, there is an increased duty of taking advantage of dependence and towards the helpless burden shifts or to the wealthy person, prove free consent and competence. The restitution and they're absent. This is in Hebrew. Okay. The following false affidavit that they've done, the defendants claim that the deceased Hannah Radley made the power of attorney on for the son. She was mute and paralyzed. This is science fiction. False arguments to the court. The plaintiff goal is to create legal proceeding and waste time to the court, which is so true. There were 2 negotiations which I initiated, and this is a false affidavit. They say that I'm prudent. They say that I'm wasteful. As stated, they call the plaintiff wasteful. Okay, this is that thing. Although in the negotiation that the plaintiff conducted with them, clauses were created by her lawyer. This is Yoav Golan, that included conditions that would stop beating her and she would be notified in advance in any of one of their arrivals. Once they broke the negotiations, once a week they came and run after me against the regulation, the home front regulation, in a full-blown war, trying to beat me, to call police. I don't know, it was to really torture and to harm the legal process. They broke a chimney, breaking an entrance in the night. They sent a copy coin. They sent also Ronen Freund people to walk around their house in the night, break an entry. They broke a chimney, a pole in their house fell on me. This is, attempted murder. First affidavit to the court about his attacks. There's sending terrorists, and he claimed that I live in a fictional world of persecution. The police saw that they were there. Even the legal courier did have stated to court about his attacks, sending these terrorists. She lives in a fictional world. Okay. Stated its argument to court that states that did not guard the house, did not pay the bills. Well, I did pay the bills. They didn't give me the bills. They had no right to authorization in the bank. There was no appointment of the beneficiary or partner in the bank. As mentioned, the woman was paralyzed, the level of amputee, and you can see that the current account of variety of cash withdrawals, even on the day of her death. Important to note, in case 25135, after concealing documents during negotiation, the same documents were also concealed in the court proceeding by mistake and without presenting the documents to court. The attorney testified that then during ongoing power, we're also talking about the penal law, section 300, murder. You see that they tried to poison the mom, tried to kill me. Civil Procedure Regulations 2057, duty of disclosure of documents, Regulation 60, sanctions of known disclosure to the court, Regulation 122, formally Regulation 100, failure to comply with the judicial order for the disclosure of documents that constitute content of court. Well, I needed to go to the bank and bring their documents, although they had it. They concealed it. They concealed evidence that they withdrew money every day or every 2 days. Even when she was dying on the 6th of March, they withdrew money. Severe evidence for some abuse of jurisdictional procedure, contempt of court, criminal aspect. Okay, this is all false affidavits, section 239 of the penal law, perjury 237, relevant criminal case laws, criminal act, Fahima, Borovich. we're talking about he was a banker, aggravated murder, theft and robbery, section 386 and 388, section 431, exploitation of vulnerable person, the felony of reduction of use of cash law, banking laws, aid and soliciting, theft, violation of constitutional rights, guardianship law, section 47, duties of guardianship, enduring power of attorney amendment 2016, exploit the behavioral offense, section 21, negligence, definition, lack of awareness of risk of consequently resulting in harm, trust law, the duty of trustees, a judicial act with loyalty and integrity for the benefit of the beneficiaries, which is me. I mean, you come and hit me and take the money. This is not over the beneficiary. And in good faith, it shall not intentionally or negligently infringe upon the rights of the beneficiary, shall not avoid any conflict of interest between himself and the beneficiaries or among the beneficiaries themselves. So they presented to court that they are needy families. The interest, they need the money because they're needy families. It's against the trust law. You held it for 7 years. You didn't learn the material. You just tried to evict me to a retarded home. I mean, that was all, 7 years prospect, getting narcotics and making me, drool and paralyzed and mute. Just attempt of murder. This is just unbelievable. For 20 years, I was giving you, serving you. You all the time said that you're some kind of stupid and you need my help. Good faith and diligence, no bookkeeping, just threats of my life. The trustee shall fulfill the provisions of trust provided such provisions do not conflict with the law. So they're concealing assets. They took so much money before. They are, they're all the time concealing in this trust, which hasn't got any bookkeeping and nothing. Duty and loyalty, traditional integrity of benefits of beneficiaries, accounting obligations, no accounting, no bookkeeping. Referring you also to the tax ordinance and that regulation. What is a bookkeeping? No debit, no credit. They don't have nothing. Just tried to kill me. Sending threats and people to walk around in the night. Strict liability. You already knew you were holding this, which I didn't know about that will, which means that you have to enlarge and preserve the money. You held it for 7 years. And in 2021, you took out the flat from the mum, which was a rent income. Why aren't this trust getting rent? 20 years you had rent. No, suddenly you're using this flat for your own benefits. For 21, this is strict liability. You already knew, even if there's no criminal felony, you already have strict liability. If you have problems with the bookkeeping, it's already strict liability. It's in the penal law and it's also in trust law. Within the trust law, trustees are held strict liable for breaches, regardless of intent. A violation of these, hiding trust document, concealing assets, concealing bank data, telling the bankers not to give me bank data, telling the bankers that I'm retarded and don't give me data. Inheritance law, section 115, right to reside. For me, it was when my mom wasn't even, dead. You came, beat me up and to try to throw me from a flat that she built especially for me. And it's as if, this is it's half a dunam, it's 4 floors. Why are people all the time coming to a very secure and it's not intuitive to get into my home? There's 3 levels above. Why this Kobe Cohen comes and, roams around my place? You come and roam around my place, only my place. There's three levels above. This is unbelievable. And it was given to me by my mom and my father. Legal passive guardianship law, real estate property laws, additional legal, strict liability, right of ownership. This is in section 14 of the ownership is the right to possess real estate, to use it, to derive benefits from it, and to perform any legal transaction related. So we have all these assets, also was the banker assets, all of the house. You're trying to ruin the house, open this guy who broke all the switch It's not as if I'm going around and throwing stones. People were throwing stones on my house. It's not, and this is part of the asset. You have to enlarge, enrich, and preserve, and be very diligent, be very, very careful. You cannot come and open a chimney or come and break all the water connections in the house. You're supposed to be careful. It's not as if I was doing it. You sent people. Okay. This is more or less the end.